Again, Bob Boving here with the Mystery Project, where our series is the continuation of Peggy Delaney, written by James W. Nichol. Following Amber's abduction, her father, the ex-hockey player, comes raging over the blue line from Vancouver, bringing a separate load of troubles and a fearsome threat. Kyra Harper stars as Peggy Delaney in this new story, Stick Work.
Hello there. You've reached Peggy Delaney, Toronto Tribune. If you have something confidential you want to pass on, just leave your name and number. The walls have ears. I'll get back to you. If you're calling to give me fulsome, unqualified praise for my columns, feel free now. If you're calling to scream at me, fascist, communist, cop-loving, cop-hating, pro-lesbian, anti-lesbian, pretend anti-establishment, crypto-Bay Street swamp pig, go for it. After all, this is a quasi-democracy.
Butch gets in at 7:30 tonight. All of him.
What do you mean, all of them?
All 200 pounds plus of him, including his mouth, his ham-handedness, and his rock-like head.
Well, he's upset. So, Amber finally got around to calling him then?
Yeah, we both called him yesterday. He blew up, and he got real quiet. Then he told me to get off the phone. He wanted to talk to his daughter in private.
How is she?
Okay. Closed right off.
Oh?
Those 5 girls stuffed her into a car, took her to a room, tied her up to a chair, interrogated her, taunted her, broke her nose, then ordered in a pizza before they dumped her in a park. She was terrorized physically, emotionally.
I know.
And, as far as I can tell, she's still in some messy relationship with the cause of it all, Tyler Craig. And her father, not exactly the most sensitive man in the world, is flying in tonight. And Amber won't talk to me, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, I just have 4 guppies, so...
Thank you.
Amber's a terrific, resourceful kid. Time. Just give her time.
Butch's plane arrives tonight.
Sammy, what's the matter? Don't you have any food? Sammy's bowl is empty.
Is it?
Has he had his supper?
I don't know.
Mom, you're staring at me again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sammy has to eat.
I know, but I've been thinking of putting him on a diet. He's taking up way too much room.
Oh, put your paws over your ears. She's just mad. Because Dad's coming tonight. There you go.
Honey, you know, we better have a game plan.
For what?
For your father. He's going to insist you go back home with him.
Well, I'm not. I have exams coming up. I have to give evidence when Charm and that gang of hers go on trial. They already have like 100 charges against them. And Tyler says they're scared they might have to go to jail. They won't do anything more to me.
Tyler's still talking to them?
No. He just hears things. From other kids, you know?
Uh-huh. What's Tyler saying about what happened to you? Does he understand what really happened to you? How devastating it must have been for you?
I don't want to talk about it, okay?
Butch, hi.
Where's Amber?
You look like you've lost some weight.
Yeah, well, I wonder why.
Oh, we just called you yesterday.
Where's Amber?
In her room, studying.
Didn't she hear me buzz?
Yes, but I asked her if we could talk alone for a second or two, okay?
As long as she's safe.
She's safe, for God's sakes. She's in her bedroom. Why don't you put your suitcase down?
Okay.
So, have you got a hotel?
I was hoping I could stay here, on the couch, if that's all right.
Why don't you get a room?
I'm not letting her out of my sight.
Maybe you're overreacting a little bit.
Well, maybe I'm not. Kidnapped? Broken nose? A fight over some punk she's supposed to be in love with? I'll tell you one thing. She better not be doing it.
She's just down the hall.
She comes down here for one school year. 8 lousy months.
Are you going to come into the living room and sit down? Or am I going to have to deck you right here?
I'm a little upset.
We're all a little upset.
You look like you lost some weight, too.
No. I've gained 10 pounds since I quit drinking, you dope. I look like Alvin the Chipmunk. Come on. In here. Want a coffee or tea?
No.
Look, Butch. This isn't anything to fool around with.
Who says I'm fooling around?
I just mean that Amber's been through a nightmare, and she's not talking about it very much. And she is involved with this Tyler Craig, whether you like it or not. So don't go off the deep end, and don't think just because you say so that she'll get on a plane to Vancouver and go home. It's much more complicated than that.
Hi there. Everything okay?
Honey.
Hi, Daddy.
Oh, God, look at you.
Hi. Oh, it's so good to see you. I'm so glad you came.
You are?
Yeah, of course. I missed you. So how's Evelyn?
She's fine. Your nose is all red. Your eye's black.
I know. Now I guess I look like you used to after a game.
Jesus.
They reset it, but they couldn't, put a cast on it or anything. My doctor says it's going to be okay, though.
Uh-huh.
So, I know it doesn't look like it, but actually I'm having a really good time here, Daddy.
Are you kidding me?
She's asleep.
Good. Oh, I missed her.
Yeah, I bet you did.
She's kind of spacey, isn't she?
Well, that's one way of putting it.
You'd think she just, ran into a door in the dark or something. Nothing out of the usual.
Well, she just needs time.
Yeah.
You see what I mean, though? Pushing her to go home right now, it would be the worst thing you could do.
Letting her come here. That was the worst thing I could do.
Well, thanks.
I didn't mean it like that. I mean, what's going to happen to those girls?
Depends on what kind of priors they have.
Yeah? Who are they?
5 morons.
Well, are they kind of a gang?
Yeah, I guess.
And that's all there was to it. Just over this guy. Jealousy. Nobody could have been behind those girls. Nobody could have hired them.
What are you talking about?
When I agreed she could come here, stay with you, it was because I thought it'd be safer.
Safer than what? In Vancouver? What was going on in Vancouver? What do you mean, were those girls hired by someone? Why would you even think that? That's a little crazy, isn't it? Isn't it?
I honestly don't know anymore. I just wanted her out of the way.
Of what?
Like daughter, like father. Somebody's after me.
Pardon?
For about 2 years. And they mentioned Amber. One of those, and how's your daughter's health kind of things. It petrified me. So I thought when Amber and you wanted to have a year together...
Who's after you?
I don't know. Well, not for sure. I think I know. Lee Stepanovich.
Who?
You know, Lee Stepanovich. I put a plate in his head.
A plate in his...
December the 4th, 1982, Los Angeles. 3 minutes to go. I took his head off with my stick.
Oh, yeah.
Because he'd speared me in the face.
I remember.
It was the year we met.
Yes, very romantic. That's all you talked about. Your 20-game suspension. The guy could hardly walk. Hockey wasn't the same.
It wasn't.
And you think Lee Stepanovich is what? Threatening you? And Amber? And that he might have hired those girls to beat her up?
It's possible.
It's ridiculous. There's no connection between what you're saying and those stupid girls. Believe me. What's with this Stepanovich guy, anyway?
He got a real raw deal. He had insurance through his agent, but it only came to $300 a month. Then he heard his agent, on his behalf, had settled with the insurance company and never told him. Pocketed a lump sum buyout. That's why he was only getting $300. He went to court. Dragged on for years, but he never got anywhere with it. It was sad.
It sounds sad.
In about 89, I guess, he called. He was living back in Red Deer alone, back of a barber shop. He wondered if I could help him out, send him some money. I told him I didn't have all that much myself. He said I owed it to him. I said I didn't owe him anything and hung up.
Charming.
Well, I had to see for myself. I flew out to Red Deer. He was telling the truth. 2 shabby rooms back of a barber shop. He needed a cane in each hand just to get around. He looked like hell. I wrote him a check for $2,000.
Wow, that was nice.
I thought so. Damn near all I could afford until I got into the golf course business. But 6 months later, he called again. Same thing, wanted money. I said, not this time. He kept calling. Started to get nasty. Finally, it got so I just slammed the phone down as soon as I heard his voice. He stopped. I thought it was over. It was. For 8 years. Then I got a letter.
From him?
And it wasn't even sent to me. It had Carol Tapp's name on the envelope. But at my address.
Carol Tapp?
She's famous. Was. All the players knew her. Top groupie in Vancouver. At every game, every party. If she missed some player in the league, I don't know who it could have been. I think she kept a checklist.
No kidding.
This was long before I met you.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, there was Carol Tapp's name staring at me on an envelope sent to my house. I opened it. The letter inside was written like it was to Carol, but it was really meant for me. And I kept getting them. A few months before you called about Amber coming down here, I got this one. Here.
Dear Carol, you know who, Mr. Slimeball, still doesn't get it. People owe people. Meanwhile, our mutual friend, his suffering continues. Suffering in poverty when a little bit of help could make a difference. But does Mr. Slimeball get it? No. Meanwhile, I'm closer and closer. I'm almost there. I watch his daughter coming home from school every day now. On 2 good legs. Cute kid. He's got everything. It's just not fair. Somebody should help me end this terrible journey before somebody gets hurt. Yours in justice, a friend of a friend. God, a friend of a friend. Who sent this?
That one was postmarked from Squamish, near Vancouver. The first one was sent from Calgary, then Kelowna. Closer to me, to Amber, all the time, you see?
Have you gone to the police?
What could they do? I called Stepanovich to make sure he was still in Red Deer. He hung up on me. See, I got the last one that was sent to me just a few days ago. He said he was almost there. He couldn't stop himself now. But it wasn't postmarked Vancouver or Squamish. It was postmarked Toronto. So when Amber called and told me she got beat up...
Butch, who's the friend? Who's sending these letters?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is this, Lee Stepanovich?
Yeah.
Hi. I'm Willie Watson, Toronto Tribune Sports Department.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh. And I was just calling to ask you if you had any comments on the Marty McSorley, Donald Brashear stick-swinging incident the other day.
Why would I have any comment?
Well, I understand you've got a plate in your head.
Bernie.
What?
Why would I give a flying Frenchman for anything that happens in the NHL? They can go to hell as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that's good. Okay. Just asking. So you're still living in Red Deer then, are you?
I wouldn't call it living.
He hung up.
Of course he did. That was the poorest excuse for a sports writer I've ever heard.
Well, I'm not a sports writer, am I? I run a cleaning business here. Suddenly, I'm impersonating Willie Watson, which I'm sure is some kind of felony, and I'm calling up a guy with a plate in his head.
You should have said that you knew he had suffered a similar incident, not that he had a plate in his head.
Well, Miss Sensitivity, excuse me. I couldn't think of anything else to say. I choked.
You were supposed to draw him out. Well, at least we know he's still in Red Deer. I think I'll phone the Red Deer Chronicle. See if they know what's up with Lee Stepanovich. In particular, just who are his friends.
What's Butch doing?
He's with Amber. She's taking the day off school. They're supposed to be going down to the NHL alumni office to see if they've had any contact with Stepanovich.
You've told her about this. Is that a good idea?
She has a right to know. It concerns her.
Hasn't she been traumatized enough already?
If someone is targeting her, she should know, right?
Right. That groupie person, what was her name?
Carol Tapp.
Could she be in on this?
And incriminate herself by having the letters addressed to her? I don't think so.
I'll fax all this stuff through to you.
Thanks a bunch, Joe.
That's all right. It was kind of fun, looking through all our old files again. Red Deer did a lot for Stepanovich, you know. Draws, benefit dinners, even had the NHL old-timers in playing a benefit game. I covered that one for the Chronicle. Eddie Shack was a riot.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, cowboy hat and all that. He went over real big.
So what kind of shape is Stepanovich in, anyway?
It's rough. Doesn't look after himself very well anymore. You see him shuffling around town in the local hotels. He drinks too much. Drugs too, maybe, I don't know. He's a sight sometimes, I can tell you. Trying to navigate on two canes.
Well, does he travel much?
Only from the barber shop to the hotel. And back again.
How about friends?
A few losers hang around with him. He bums drinks from them. And they can boast they're friends with Lee Stepanovich, ex-NHLer. It's sad.
Right.
What's the date of that old-timers benefit game again?
It says, March 12th, 1986.
Wonder why no one invited me to it.
Oh, what?
Oh, God. I know.
Know what?
How they knew I was in Toronto. I know. They called Evelyn.
Who called Evelyn?
Some man. Because just after Christmas, when I was talking to her, she said a man had called the house looking for me. I'd put in an application into McDonald's for part-time work. Evelyn told him that I'd gone to Toronto for the year, and that was all there was to it. Except I hadn't put an application into McDonald's.
No?
No, we just thought at the time it was just a mix-up or something, but maybe it wasn't.
Honey, you okay?
Yeah, sure.
Well, I'm not. Butch, you didn't find anything out at the alumni office. I'm calling the police.
What are they going to do? Nothing's happened yet.
I don't care. Extortion's happened. Attempted extortion, anyway. Except, oh, God, those damn letters are so bleak you couldn't pin it on anyone. Stepanovich is not even mentioned.
That's my point. Who are his friends, anyway? Who organized that game for him?
This article talks about his NHL teammates, and they've been looking after him. Terry Hatch, Kip Sturgeon. There's about 4 or 5 names. They keep coming up.
Kip Sturgeon. I knew him. He's from Toronto, I think. Where's that book?
Over here. I'll get it.
What book?
The alumni office. They gave me a contact book, you know, where everybody can be reached.
Oh.
Okay, got it.
Look up Kip Sturgeon.
Sturgeon. Let's see. Toronto. They gave some agency's address on King Street.
Wonder if I ever did anything to him.
Amber, look up Terry Hatch. Where does he live?
Calgary.
And what are the other names in that newspaper article?
Johnny Atwater.
Johnny Atwater. He lives in Kelowna.
Kelowna. And Simchuk?
Jerry Simchuk. He's,
Squamish?
yeah, Squamish, BC. How did you know?
Just a guess.
That's where those letters have been coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Toronto, Calgary, Kelowna, Squamish. What the hell? Are they all after me?
Neat idea to meet here.
I thought it might be appropriate if we're going to discuss Marty McSorley and Donald Brashear. Here's your copy.
Oh, thanks. So, the start of an NHL old-timers practice?
No, not this bunch. Just a mix of pros, semi-pros, and could-have-been pros. Everybody's just trying to keep in shape. Basically, we're a bunch of old rink rats.
Tip Sturgeon, 14 seasons in the NHL. Haven't you had enough?
Now you sound like my wife.
Oh, do I?
McSorley and Brashear. Am I going to be quoted in the famous Peggy Delaney column?
Is that a problem?
No. I think politicians, judges, professional bleeding hearts should stay out of it. If hockey has a problem with violence, then hockey will look after it. Leave it up to the guys who actually play the game to work it out, period.
Well, Brashear took quite a whack on the head.
Yes, he did. It was a stupid damn thing to do, but I've seen worse.
Have you? You know, it reminded me of Lee Stepanovich. Do you remember that one?
Stepanovich and I played junior together.
Oh.
He was a friend. I felt sick.
Do you remember who hit him?
Butch Lessing, Vancouver Canucks.
That's right.
Lee speared him first, though. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We're all grown-up boys. We know what it's all about. It's our heads, our bodies. We'll look after it.
Well, who's been looking after Lee Stepanovich?
Yeah, well, Lee's had it pretty rough. No question about that. I feel sorry for him.
You do?
Of course. Well, there's life in him yet.
What do you mean?
I mean, I got a letter from him just a couple of weeks ago. He'd enclosed this other letter and asked me to mail it for him. Had to do with an old girlfriend out in Vancouver.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. Carol Tapp. Hadn't heard that name in quite a while. Lee said he wanted to get in touch with her, but he didn't want her to know he was still stuck in Red Deer. He was telling her some story about, how he was working in sales in Toronto. Like he turned into a big deal. To get her interested. Then when she was interested, he could sort of ease into the truth. I figured, what the hell? Go for it, Lee. I mailed the damn thing. So, you see, we still help each other out.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you still up? It's almost 1.
I know.
Can't get to sleep.
Just thinking.
About what?
I don't know. Tyler, I guess.
Oh, Tyler. How is Tyler?
He still feels awful.
Uh-huh.
He said he knew he was putting me in danger. But, the two of us being together and everything. And that he was kind of hoping to break away from Charm by doing it.
Oh?
But he loves me and everything, It's really complicated for him.
It's complicated for you, isn't it?
I love him.
I know.
I just feel so humiliated by everything. And now everybody knows. And my stupid nose is broken.
Oh, honey.
Yeah. I hate those girls. I hate those girls.
I know.
Looks like rush hour in Vancouver at the Lions Gate Bridge. I'm gonna miss my plane.
No, you're not.
I hope you do miss it, then you can stay an extra day. Or an extra week.
I know, honey. But I gotta get back.
He's got to get back.
I just said that. God, I still can't believe it. For the last couple of years, Stepanovich has been asking his friends to mail me those letters.
From Calgary and Kelowna, Toronto.
Squamish, for God's sakes.
Well, he was a hockey player, and he does have a plate in his head. Attempted extortion, uttering threats. You should charge him.
Yeah, I should. How far down can you go? And hoping for what?
A check from you.
Guilt money.
Pitiful.
So, what are you going to do?
I changed my ticket. On my way home, I got a stopover. Lee and I, we got to talk. He has to cease and desist. And I can see him in my mind right now, you know. Swinging away from the play. He was a great skater. Stick up right in my face. I can see him on those 2 damn canes, too. Like his body was broken. Lee Stepanovich. Maybe I guess I could help him out a little.
You have been listening to Stick Work, tonight's installment of Peggy Delaney by James W. Nichol. Featured in the cast tonight, Kyra Harper as Peggy, Katerina Scorsone as Amber, John Stalker as Bernie, Robert Haley as Butch Lessing, Hardy T. Lynham as Lee Stepanovich, Neil Daynard as Joe Malone, and John Jarvis as Kip Sturgeon. The music was composed and conducted by Milan Kimlicka. The recording engineer was Drago Grandich. Sound effects were by Matt Wilcox. Colleen Woods was the associate producer. Our coordinating producer is Barry Morgan. The program was produced and directed in Toronto by Bill Howell, the executive producer of the Mystery Project. Cassettes of the first Peggy Delaney series are available at all bookstores in your neighborhood, as well as your local library. I'm Bob Boving, thanking you for listening.